This is a SmogHog SG series, and we have diagnosed that the power supply is bad and we want to set about replacing it. On this one, it's on the box on the side. Sometimes they're up in the top, and sometimes they're actually inside the unit itself. In any case, they replace very similarly. And we start by making sure the power is off, disconnected, and then we open the box up. And I always like to verify that the power is off. So you don't get surprised. In this box on this unit, we have 120 volts. Some units will have a 480 and a transformer, so it's a lot more dangerous. We turn the meter on to volts, and then we just check between the hot wire and the neutral, and we should have 0. And then we check from the hot to ground, and again we should have 0. And one final thing, the filters can store electricity, so we dissipate that by shorting from ground to the high voltage contact. Now if the power supply is really actually bad, we will get no arc there. After having done that, the next step is to pull the wires out, and we like to use long nose pliers and grab right at the base of the connector. You don't want to pull on the wire, you may pull it out of the connector and then you'll have to replace the connector, and the wire may end up being too short. So gonna be careful of that. And then you need an 11/32 wrench to undo the ground nut. Get that loosened. And just spin it off and save the nut. You may need it on your new power supply. And we use a 7/16 wrench to loosen this top nut. And then loosen the bottom one. And we only remove one of them. And I like to remove the top one. It seems a little easier to access, so the power supply doesn't fall off when you have this one off. And then just raise it up and out of place. And install your new one. We like to write the date on here with a marker so we know if it fails in the future how long it's lasted. We usually get 10 to 15 years on the power supplies. If you're getting a shorter period of time, you may want to investigate whether you need more frequent service or you have something wrong with a different part of your system. So when you get this, start to get it tight, you need to double check that there's no wires being pinched. And then you can go ahead and finish tightening it up. You just want it nice and snug. And then you can go start them by hand if you want, or use pliers. But you want to feel that they're seating properly on your connectors. There's a tab in there, and if it gets bent, the connector won't go on correctly. So a little firm pressure, but it shouldn't be too difficult. If so, you need to try to shine a light in there and see if your tab has gotten bent over, in which case you'll have to straighten it out, which may mean removing it again. Alright, so everything's hooked back up. We've tightened up our ground. And ready to close the door. One final thing is you need to check your light bulb. This is a new unit. Comes with an LED. On an older unit, you're going to have a light bulb that looks more like this, the cap that removes. And if you have an incandescent bulb, which is like a clear glass globe, you'll need to replace it. And they make an LED replacement that just pushes in and twists in place. And your power supply is made to operate with an LED bulb, not the old incandescent. Having done that, turn your power back on. Latch this door, and your green light should come on.